I need to tell you something today that I wish someone had told my own mother before it was too late. And I say that not to scare you, but because after 30 years of practicing medicine, after treating thousands of patients, many of them over 50, many of them doing everything they thought was right for their health, I've learned that the most dangerous mistakes people make are not the ones born out of carelessness. They're the ones born out of good intentions. They're the mistakes people make precisely because they're trying to take care of themselves. They read something, they hear something from a friend, they see something recommended by someone they trust, and they start doing it with the best of intentions in the world. And sometimes that well meaning decision, slowly, quietly, without any obvious warning signs, starts causing harm that nobody sees until it's become a real problem. That is exactly what I'm seeing happen right now with turmeric. And it's happening on a scale that genuinely concerns me. Now, before you click away, before you think I'm about to tell you that turmeric is bad and you should throw it in the trash, please hear me out. That is not what I'm saying. Not even close. Turmeric is a remarkable spice with properties that have been studied extensively, and there is legitimate science behind many of the benefits people talk about. I'm not here to argue with that. What I am here to tell you, what I feel a deep professional obligation to share with you today, is that the way many people are using turmeric, the amounts they're taking, the forms they're choosing, the combinations they're mixing it with, and the timing of when they're consuming it, all of this matters enormously. And when you get these things wrong, turmeric doesn't just stop being helpful. It can actively start working against you in ways that can be genuinely dangerous, especially if you're over 50, especially if you're taking medications, and especially if you have underlying health conditions that you may or may not even know about. I'm Dr. Michael Williams. I've spent 3 decades in clinical practice specializing in the health of older adults. And in the last 5 years alone, I have seen a dramatic increase in patients coming to me with problems that were directly connected to how they were using turmeric. Not problems caused by turmeric itself, but problems caused by using it in the wrong way, in the wrong dose, at the wrong time, or in combination with things that created a reaction their bodies couldn't handle. And the most heartbreaking part of these cases is that every single one of these patients was trying to do something good for their health. Every single one of them thought they were making a smart choice. And I have to sit across from them and explain that the very thing they thought was protecting them was actually part of the problem. That conversation never gets easier, no matter how many times I have it. So let me take you through this carefully because I want you to understand not just what can go wrong, but why it goes wrong, and most importantly, what you can do instead to get the real benefits of turmeric without putting yourself at risk. And I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to feel more informed and more empowered about your health than you did 5 minutes ago. That's my goal for you today. Let's start with something that almost nobody talks about, and it's the single biggest reason people get into trouble with turmeric. It's the issue of concentration and form. You see, when your grandmother used turmeric, or when people in India and Southeast Asia have been using it for thousands of years, they were using it as a spice. A pinch here, a dash there, mixed into food, cooked with oils and other ingredients, consumed as part of a meal. In that form, in those amounts, turmeric is gentle, it's well tolerated, and the body handles it beautifully. Your digestive system knows what to do with a spice that's been part of the human diet for millennia, but that is not how most people are using turmeric today. What's happened over the past decade is that the supplement industry has taken the active compound in turmeric, which is called curcumin, and they've figured out ways to concentrate it to levels that are 50, 100, even 200 times more potent than what you'd get from the spice in your kitchen cabinet. And then, because curcumin is naturally not well absorbed by the body, they've added enhancers like black pepper extract, which is called piperine, or they've created special formulations using nanotechnology or lipid encapsulation that dramatically increase how much curcumin actually gets into your bloodstream. On the surface, this sounds like a good thing. More absorption means more benefit, right? Well, not necessarily, and this is where the trouble begins. When you take a highly concentrated, highly bioavailable curcumin supplement, you are not doing the same thing as adding turmeric to your chicken soup. You are taking what is essentially a pharmacological dose of a bioactive compound that has powerful effects on multiple systems in your body. It affects your blood clotting mechanisms. It affects your liver enzymes. It affects your hormone metabolism. It affects how your body processes other medications. It affects your iron absorption. It affects your blood sugar regulation. And when you're taking it in concentrated form, these effects are not subtle, they are significant. And for someone over 50 who is likely taking other medications, who may have age-related changes in liver and kidney function, who may have conditions they're not even fully aware of, these effects can create problems that range from uncomfortable to genuinely dangerous. Let me give you a real example from my practice, and I'm changing names and details to protect privacy. But the medical situation is exactly as it happened. A woman I'll call Patricia came to see me about a year ago. She was 68 years old, active, sharp as a tack, and very health conscious. She had mild arthritis in her hands and knees, and a friend had told her that turmeric supplements were wonderful for joint discomfort. So, Patricia went to her local health food store and bought a high-potency curcumin supplement with black pepper extract for enhanced absorption. The bottle said to take 2 capsules a day, and that's exactly what she did. She also continued taking her daily aspirin, which her previous doctor had recommended for heart protection, and her blood pressure medication, which she'd been on for several years. For the first few weeks, Patricia thought the supplement was helping. Her joints felt a little better, and she was pleased with her decision. But then she started noticing something strange. She was bruising easily. Not just a little bruise here and there, which wouldn't be unusual. She was developing large, dark bruises from the slightest bump. She brushed against a doorframe and the next day had a bruise the size of a grapefruit on her arm. She noticed her gums were bleeding when she brushed her teeth, and one night she woke up with a nosebleed that took almost 20 minutes to stop. When Patricia came to see me and we went through everything she was taking, the picture became very clear. The high-dose curcumin supplement has significant blood-thinning properties. It inhibits platelet aggregation, which is a medical way of saying it makes your blood less likely to clot. Now, aspirin does the same thing. That's actually why people take aspirin for heart protection, because it thins the blood and reduces the risk of clots. But Patricia was now essentially double dosing on blood thinners without realizing it. The curcumin supplement was amplifying the blood thinning effect of her aspirin to a degree that was becoming dangerous. Those bruises, the bleeding gums, the nosebleed that wouldn't stop, these were warning signs that her blood's ability to clot was being compromised. And if she had continued on that path, the consequences could have been far more serious than bruises. We're talking about the risk of internal bleeding, gastrointestinal hemorrhage, or a hemorrhagic stroke, which is bleeding inside the brain. Patricia had no idea. She thought she was taking a natural supplement and a baby aspirin. She didn't think of either one as a serious medication. And that right there is one of the most dangerous misconceptions I encounter in my practice. People think that because something is natural, because it comes from a plant, because it's sold in a health food store instead of a pharmacy, it must be gentle and safe and free of serious side effects. But curcumin in concentrated supplement form is a potent, bioactive compound. It's not a food anymore. It's functioning like a drug in your body, and it needs to be treated with the same respect and caution you'd give any drug. Now, Patricia's story involved aspirin, but the list of medications that can interact with concentrated curcumin is long, and it includes many of the most commonly prescribed drugs for people over 50. Blood thinners like warfarin and the newer anticoagulants can have their effects dangerously amplified by curcumin. Diabetes medications can interact with curcumin's blood sugar lowering properties, potentially causing blood sugar to drop too low, which is a condition called hypoglycemia that can be life-threatening, especially in older adults. Certain blood pressure medications can be affected because curcumin can lower blood pressure on its own, and combining that effect with medication can cause pressure to drop to levels that make you dizzy, lightheaded, or prone to fainting and falls. And falls in seniors are not minor events. Falls are one of the leading causes of serious injury and death in people over 65. So when I say that an interaction between curcumin and blood pressure medication can be dangerous, I'm not exaggerating. I'm describing a chain of events that I've seen play out in real patients with real consequences. There's another issue with concentrated curcumin that doesn't get nearly enough attention, and it involves your liver. Your liver is the organ responsible for processing virtually everything that enters your body, including medications, supplements, and food compounds. As you age, your liver naturally becomes less efficient at this job. It has fewer functioning cells, it receives less blood flow, and its enzyme systems slow down. This is a normal part of aging, but it means that your liver over 50 is not the same liver you had at 30. It can't handle the same workload. It needs more time to process things. And when you overload it, it lets you know, sometimes gently with fatigue and digestive discomfort, and sometimes not so gently with elevated liver enzymes that indicate actual liver damage. In recent years, there has been a growing number of case reports in the medical literature of liver injury associated with high-dose curcumin supplements, particularly the highly bioavailable formulations that are designed to maximize absorption. These are not cases of people taking a pinch of turmeric in their food. These are cases of people taking concentrated supplements, often at doses higher than recommended, sometimes combining multiple supplements that all contain curcumin and overwhelming their liver's ability to process the compound safely. Some of these cases have resulted in significant liver injury requiring hospitalization. And while these severe cases are not common, they are not as rare as the supplement industry would like you to believe, and they disproportionately affect older adults whose liver function is already reduced. I had a patient, a 74-year-old man I'll call George, who came to me with persistent fatigue, loss of appetite, and a yellowish tint to his skin and eyes that his wife noticed before he did. Those are classic signs of liver distress. When we ran his blood work, his liver enzymes were significantly elevated. We went through every possible cause. He didn't drink alcohol excessively. He hadn't started any new prescription medications. He hadn't been exposed to any toxins that he knew of. But when I asked him to bring in every single supplement he was taking, he showed up with a shopping bag that contained, among other things, 3 different supplements that all contained curcumin in some form. One was a dedicated turmeric supplement. Another was a joint health formula that contained curcumin as one of its ingredients. And the third was an inflammation support blend that also included curcumin. George had no idea he was tripling up on the same compound. He thought he was taking 3 different supplements for 3 different purposes. But his liver was dealing with one massive dose of curcumin from 3 different sources, day after day, and it had reached its limit. We stopped all 3 supplements immediately, and over the next several weeks, George's liver enzymes gradually returned to normal and his symptoms resolved. He was lucky. If he had continued, or if he had waited longer before coming in, the damage could have been more severe and potentially permanent. And the thing that bothers me most about George's case is how easily it could have been prevented. If someone had simply told him to check the ingredient labels of all his supplements and look for overlap, if someone had warned him that more is not better when it comes to concentrated plant compounds, if someone had explained that his 74-year-old liver needed to be protected, not overloaded. But nobody told him, and he almost paid a very high price for that silence. Now let me talk about something that I find particularly concerning, and it's the way many people take turmeric supplements at night, right before bed, often on an empty stomach. I understand the logic. People figure they'll take their supplements before sleep so the body can absorb and use them overnight. It seems reasonable. But for turmeric and curcumin specifically, this practice can cause real problems. Curcumin is a potent stimulator of bile production. Bile is a digestive fluid produced by your liver and stored in your gallbladder that helps you digest fats. When you take a concentrated curcumin supplement, your gallbladder contracts to release bile. During the day, when you're upright and your digestive system is active, this isn't usually a problem. But at night, when you're lying down, when your digestive system is in its rest state, when your body is supposed to be focused on repair and restoration rather than digestion, stimulating bile production can cause a cascade of digestive discomfort, including acid reflux, nausea, abdominal cramping, and diarrhea. For people who have gallstones, which are extremely common in older adults and often undiagnosed, stimulating gallbladder contraction with a concentrated curcumin supplement can trigger a gallbladder attack, which is excruciatingly painful and can lead to an emergency room visit. Beyond the digestive issues, there's another reason why nighttime supplementation with curcumin can be problematic. Curcumin has been shown to influence cortisol levels and inflammatory pathways in ways that can interfere with normal sleep architecture. Some people find that taking curcumin supplements in the evening makes them restless, gives them vivid or disturbing dreams, or causes them to wake up multiple times during the night. Quality sleep is not a luxury for people over 50. It is a medical necessity. During deep sleep, your body repairs damaged tissues, consolidates memories, regulates hormones, and clears waste products from your brain. Anything that disrupts this process has real consequences for your health, your cognitive function, and your cardiovascular system. Taking a supplement that interferes with your sleep while believing it's helping your health is the kind of bitter irony that keeps me up at night as a physician. There's yet another issue I need to address, and it's one that particularly affects women. Curcumin has been shown to have effects on estrogen metabolism, and in concentrated doses, these effects become significant. For women who are postmenopausal, who are taking hormone replacement therapy, or who have a history of hormone-sensitive conditions, concentrated curcumin supplements can potentially interfere with hormone balance in ways that are unpredictable and potentially harmful. This is an area where the research is still evolving, and I want to be careful not to overstate what we know. But I also believe that in the absence of complete certainty, caution is the responsible path. If you are a woman over 50 taking concentrated curcumin, this is something you should discuss with your doctor, particularly if you have any history of hormone-related health concerns. I also want to mention something about turmeric and iron absorption, because this affects a group of people who can least afford it. Curcumin has been shown to bind to iron in the digestive tract, reducing how much iron your body absorbs from food. For younger, healthy people with adequate iron stores, this is unlikely to cause a problem. But for older adults, particularly those who are already borderline anemic, which is common in seniors, or those who have conditions that affect iron absorption, regular use of concentrated curcumin supplements can gradually deplete iron stores and contribute to anemia. Anemia in older adults is not just about feeling tired. It puts additional strain on the heart, reduces oxygen delivery to the brain, increases the risk of falls, and can accelerate cognitive decline. And because iron depletion happens gradually, many people don't connect their worsening fatigue and weakness to the supplement they started taking 6 months ago. So after all of this, after everything I've shared with you today, you might be wondering if I think anyone over 50 should use turmeric at all. And the answer is yes, but with intelligence, with awareness, and with respect for the compound's potency and your body's changing needs. Here's what I recommend to my own patients, and here's what I would recommend to you. First, if you want the general health-supporting properties of turmeric, consider using the whole spice in your cooking rather than taking concentrated supplements. Add turmeric to soups, stews, scrambled eggs, rice dishes, smoothies, and teas. Use it the way it's been used for thousands of years as part of food, in moderate amounts combined with other ingredients. When you use turmeric this way, you're getting the benefits of the whole spice complex, not just isolated curcumin, and you're getting it in amounts that your body can process safely and naturally. Second, if you feel that you need a curcumin supplement for a specific reason, talk to your doctor first. I mean this sincerely. Before you buy the bottle, have a conversation with a healthcare provider who knows your medical history, who knows what medications you're taking, and who can help you determine whether a curcumin supplement is appropriate for your specific situation, and if so, what dose and what form would be safest. Third, never take more than one supplement that contains curcumin or turmeric extract. Check the labels of every supplement you take, including combination formulas for joints, inflammation, digestion, and general wellness. You might be surprised to find curcumin listed as an ingredient in products where you wouldn't expect it. The supplement industry has jumped on the turmeric bandwagon so aggressively that curcumin is now showing up in everything from multivitamins to sleep aids. If you're taking multiple supplements, you need to know exactly how much curcumin you're getting from all sources combined. Fourth, if you are taking any blood-thinning medication, any diabetes medication, any blood pressure medication, or any medication that is processed by the liver, which includes the vast majority of prescription drugs, you should be extremely cautious with curcumin supplements and should only take them under direct medical supervision. The interactions are real, they are well documented, and they can be serious. Fifth, avoid taking curcumin supplements on an empty stomach, and avoid taking them at night before bed. If you do take a supplement, take it with a meal that contains some healthy fat, which actually aids absorption in a more controlled way, and take it earlier in the day when your digestive system is active and your body is better equipped to process it. Sixth, and this is something I feel strongly about, don't fall into the trap of thinking that more is better. This applies to turmeric and it applies to supplements in general. Your body has limits, your liver has limits, your kidneys have limits. And as you age, those limits become tighter, not more generous. Respecting those limits is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. I started this by telling you about my own mother, and I want to come back to that because it's personal for me and I think it illustrates everything I've been saying. My mother was a wonderful woman who lived to be 81 years old. In her early 70s, she became very interested in natural health and started taking a variety of supplements based on things she read in magazines and heard from friends. One of those supplements was a high-potency turmeric extract. She took it every day, along with her blood pressure medication and a low-dose aspirin her doctor had prescribed. Nobody told her to check for interactions. Nobody told her that the turmeric supplement could amplify the effects of her other medications. Nobody told her that her aging liver needed to be considered when adding powerful new compounds to her daily routine. Over the course of about a year, she developed problems that we initially attributed to aging. More bruising, more fatigue, some digestive issues that came and went. Her blood pressure occasionally dropped lower than expected. Looking back with everything I know now, those were signs that the combination of her supplements and medications was causing problems. At the time, we didn't connect the dots quickly enough. My mother eventually had a fall related to a blood pressure drop that resulted in a hip fracture, and while she recovered from the surgery, her health declined from that point forward. I cannot say with certainty that her turmeric supplement caused that fall. There were multiple factors at play. But I can say that if I had known then what I know now, I would have reviewed every supplement she was taking, I would have checked for every possible interaction, and I would have made sure that her well-intentioned health choices weren't quietly undermining her safety. That regret is what drives me to have this conversation with you today. You deserve to make informed choices about your health. You deserve to know that natural doesn't automatically mean safe in any amount and in any combination. You deserve to have a doctor who will look at the full picture of everything you're putting in your body, not just the prescriptions, and help you navigate the complex landscape of supplements and medications with your safety as the top priority. Turmeric is not your enemy. Ignorance about how to use it properly is, and after today, you are no longer in the dark. You know what to watch for. You know what questions to ask. You know how to protect yourself while still benefiting from one of nature's most studied and respected compounds. That knowledge is power, and it's yours now. So do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Go to your kitchen, go to your medicine cabinet, go to wherever you keep your supplements and gather everything together. Read every label. Look for curcumin, turmeric extract, and turmeric root in the ingredients. Add up what you're taking, and then bring that full list to your next doctor's appointment and have an honest, thorough conversation about what's right for your body at this stage of your life. And while you're at it, share this with the people you love. Share it with your spouse, your siblings, your friends, anyone over 50 who might be making the same well-intentioned mistakes that so many of my patients have made. Because the conversation we just had could change someone's life. It could prevent a fall, an emergency room visit, a stroke, or a silent injury that nobody sees coming until it's too late. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And remember, the best health decisions are not the ones based on trends or headlines. They're the ones based on understanding your own body, respecting its limits, and working with a doctor who sees you as a whole person, not just a collection of symptoms. You've made it this far in life. You've earned the right to good health and good information. Don't let anyone, not a supplement company, not a well-meaning friend, not even a persuasive advertisement, convince you to put something in your body without understanding exactly what it does and how it interacts with everything else you're taking. Your health is your most precious possession. Guard it with knowledge. Guard it with caution, and guard it with the confidence that comes from knowing you're making choices based on facts, not fear, and wisdom, not wishful thinking. This is Dr. Michael Williams, and I'll be here for you whenever you need me. Stay safe out there, my friends. And as always, talk to your doctor before making any changes to your health routine. That conversation is always worth having. Always.